I was having Yashua Rico from StreetScores, and I'm sorry, I've been so busy this week. This whole week schedule been crazy. I'm getting home at night and things like that, so that's why it's easier for me to go ahead and knock out Rico reports like this one, where we talk about a lot of different topics, all of the main things that's going on in the Commanders, Twitter and internet verse and things like that. Javon Kinlaw, all of that stuff on the way. Film sessions for the rookies, promise. But today we're talking about how Laramie Tunsil seems to be demanding a new deal from the Washington Commanders. We're going to dive into that. Also, our Washington Commanders 2025 NFL Draft first round pick just got paid. Also, people out there saying that Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback under 25. We're going to dive into that along with a lot of very underrated Commanders players. And we have several. We have a lot of different experts and articles and networks talking about different players on the Commanders, like, hey, watch out for this guy, hey, watch out for that guy. And I have a trivia question for you. What university produced the most players, 5 of them, on the Commanders season-ending roster in 2022? I feel like most people could probably guess this and get it right, but either way, I'll give y'all the answer to that at the end of the video. But before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. I promise y'all, I'm gonna have y'all updated on everything once my schedule just gets a little less busy, where I can at least be home for a few hours daylight. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, and we're going to dive into this video in a certain order that makes the most sense. So we're not exactly going to go in order of where I put the things in the title. I'm giving you the heads up right now. It's going to make sense to you when you see which order we go in with everything. So I feel like naturally we first have to talk about the Washington Commanders and first round pick Josh Connolly have agreed to terms on a fully guaranteed 4-year deal worth $15.6 million. Shouts out to the rookie becoming a millionaire, man. Shouts out to him. That guy is ready for camp, good to go, locked in for the next 4 at least years plus, because the 5th year option is more than likely going to get picked up. We're going to extend them. I'm expecting big things out of Josh Connolly, man. I think he's an elite Pro Bowl level right tackle. And we're going to talk about Laramie Tunsil a little bit later when he finally gets to a certain age to where maybe he's not playing at that high of a level anymore, because, you know, he's losing his athleticism somewhat. Even though he's going to be a very nuanced tackle, I can see him playing at a very high level for the next few years. I don't think Laramie Tunsil is anywhere near like about to fall off a cliff within like a year or two or anything like that. But worst case scenario, you just kick Josh Connolly back to left tackle, and then Laramie Tunsil can kind of be your aging right tackle that still got it. You know what I'm saying? That's just my future projection, like 6-7 years down the road type of thing. We'll see though. Who knows? So many things can happen. But either way, shouts out to Tom Pelissero, because he was the first reporter that I saw like officially announce this and like confirm it from sources. The Commanders' number 29 overall pick Josh Connolly agreed to terms on his fully guaranteed 4-year $15,681,094 deal. And just to let you know, he also updated the fact that there are only just 10 first-round picks that are still unsigned, with training camp 2 months away. And we can pretty much assume that all of them will more than likely be signed by then, so it's not much real news, but who knows? Things can get a little tricky. I mean, John Com even pointed out the fact that they'll all sign soon, but good to get it out the way. So basically, don't worry from, I guess, whatever he's hearing, because it's not a guarantee. You know, that boy Joey Bosa, I believe it was him in his rookie year, it took him forever to sign his contract with the Chargers. I remember that drama surrounding it. Like, what's going on? Since how long do draft picks tend to hold out for their contracts and things like that? I thought it was pretty standard for them to sign very quickly and things like that, but it was something going on, and who knows? We may get to training camp and maybe a first round pick or two is still not signed. But John Com, from whatever he's hearing, whatever he knows, sounds like the Commanders are probably on the way to getting everybody else inked in. We already have a lot of the rookie class signed. The majority of them, I believe the only ones left maybe like Trey Amos, and don't quote me on that, but I definitely remember, confirmed, Jacory getting signed, Kane Madrano, and I think Jalen Lane got signed as well. It's probably just Trey Amos right now. I believe so, Because, of course, all of the undrafted free agents are already signed. You signed them after the draft. Trey Amos is probably the only player not signed yet from our draft class. We'll see. Then, of course, you have the guys that tried out for the rookie mini camps like Gabe Taylor and those guys. Of course, they're not signed, and it's not very likely that they will be. But I just wanted to conclude that as well. But we can't take things for granted, because the Bengals are over there struggling to sign their first-round pick edge rusher and Shamar Stewart right now, which is crazy because they're also struggling to make sure I'm not even sure if they're even trying to pay Trey Hendrickson, but they at least keep him happy. Right now, Trey Hendrickson is holding out as their superstar veteran edge rusher, and now their first-round pick edge rusher is also holding out as well. So the Bengals defense is about to be, if anything, even worse than it was last year, and it was already abysmal. I mean, let's dive into it. You have a Bengals reporter breaking it down. He says Stewart is currently holding out due to issues with his rookie contract, but the Bengals aren't a damsel in obtuse rookie distress. This is a mess of Cincinnati's making, and one it doesn't deserve sympathy for. The Bengals rookie has a reasonable request amid his contract holdout, the same treatment as his predecessors. Quote, Cincinnati Bengals first round pick Shamar Stewart remains unsigned by the team and isn't practicing with the team during the voluntary workout program due to a continued dispute over the language in his contract, a source told the Inquirer. He won't practice with the Bengals until his contract is resolved. Stewart is requesting that his contract language mirror the last two Bengals first round picks, both of which were selections after pick number 17. You have right tackle Amarius Mims, Georgia Dog, pick 18th overall, and you have Myles Murphy back in 2023 taking number 28th overall. So his point is, I was drafted higher than both of those guys. Why do I not have the same language in my contract that protects the players that they have that I just don't? Like, he's trying to figure that out, and he's apparently not going to practice until that gets solved. And so the Bengals reporter also says it isn't immediately clear what the language Stewart is exactly disputing, whether it be a matter of bonus schedule or offset clauses, his salary, signing bonus, all of that type of stuff. Somewhere in there, he's not liking it. And simply put, there isn't any real reason for the Bengals to be so stingy. They've clearly been willing to hand those contracts out before, again, to my Georgia Dog, Amarius Mims, and even Myles Murphy in 2023. And if anything, edge rusher Trey Hendrickson's uncertain future makes Stewart an even bigger priority. So I don't know what the Bengals got going on. They made sure they paid their quarterback and their top two receivers, and then it seems like they don't have any money or whatever leeway to offer anybody else. And they're such an archaic organization, man. I don't know what's going on over there. Your star edge rusher is holding out. Your rookie first round pick edge rusher is holding out. I don't know what they got going. Then they're the same team that drafted Jermaine Burton, so they have a lot of chaos over there right now, man. I'm not jealous of the Bengals right now. But either way, moving on, maybe the Commanders have their own little bit of drama, because Laramie Tunsil, very soon after Josh Connolly was announced that he finally signed his rookie contract. Now, of course, this was going to happen. So it's not like Laramie Tunsil was caught off guard with the fact that Josh Connolly got paid. You know what I'm saying? It was eventually going to happen regardless. So it was inconsequential. But either way, shortly after Josh Connolly is announced to be signing his fully guaranteed 4-year rookie contract deal. That's what first round picks get, fully guaranteed money. Laramie Tunsil went to Instagram and put up this video in his story, which seems to be him demanding money. Now, granted, maybe he's just hyping up Josh Connolly. He's like, yeah, my boy done got paid. He went to the Commanders and was basically reenacting that video is probably what he was saying. But some people are looking at it as maybe he's like, hey, pay me next. But again, this is a draft pick. This wasn't like a free agency signing or a trade like you were. This is a draft pick that was inevitably going to be signed before training camp happened. So you kind of just assumed. And I've been in the corner of pay Laramie Tunsil before this season starts. Get Terry done first. Get that done well before training camp. And then Laramie Tunsil, I would hope to be done before the regular season, because his price is only going to go up. I mean, we could dive into his contract right now. As of right now in 2025, he's a $21.3 million cap hit, and he'll be the same thing in 2026. So he has 2 years left on his deal, but hey, you'll get him cheaper down the road, say 2027 and 2028 wise. He'll be cheaper if you pay him now than if you wait till after the season, because I think he's going to ball out. You know, right now his stock is probably the lowest it's going to be for the next 7-8 years, because again, I think he can play at a really high level for at least another 5 years, just the nature of the position. Like, Trent Williams isn't anywhere near as athletic as he used to be. He's out of his prime, but he's still a dominant left tackle in the NFL because of nuance, strategy, his IQ, his awareness, all of that type type of stuff, the technique things, the things that you gain with experience and hard work and all of that type of stuff. And I think Laramie Tunsil can have some of that in this guy. I'm not saying he's Trent Williams, but he's probably going to have a lot of that to where he ages very well in the NFL, and to where I think he can play at a high level for the next 5 years. But my point is, right now he's cheaper. Right, if you're projected into 2027 and 2028, where I think he'll still be playing at a high level, he's cheaper if you pay him now than if you wait till after this season, because I think he's about to ball out this year. Again, his stock is the lowest that it's at right now because he's coming from a terrible Houston Texans situation. Bobby Slowick apparently set them up for failure as an offensive coordinator, and the offensive line did not have the talent that it needed, and because of that, a result of that was Laramie Tunsil having a ridiculous amount of penalties and taking a step back in production. You can look at his Pro Football Focus grades, a lot of things. People just felt like Laramie Tunsil was not as good last year as he had previously been in his other season since getting to the NFL. And a lot of people are even questioning, well, maybe he's done. Maybe he has nothing left in the tank. I feel like it was more so the environment that he was in. So I feel like when he gets to the Commanders with Cliff Kingsbury as his offensive coordinator, the best offensive coordinator in football right now, because again, you don't count guys like Andy Reid and Ben Johnson. They're now head coaches. And I would even argue that Cliff Kingsbury deserves a little, to be put in the same categories as those guys. I know he hasn't won rings like Andy Reid, and I know he's not a head coach like Ben Johnson yet, but he was once before. But I mean, you're talking about the fourth down efficiency, some of the records we set and things like that. So Cliff Kingsbury is a genius in his own. So coming here with that, the talent that's next to him and around him, I think Brandon Coleman is a Pro Bowl starting left guard potentially right there. And then Tyler Biadasz, then Samuel Cosme's already a Pro Bowl right guard once he's healthy. Again, Tyler Biadasz is a top 5, top 7 center. And then I think Josh Connolly, you already heard me earlier, I think the world of him. I mean, that guy shut down Abdul Carter. He gave Abdul Carter his only 0-0-0 game as far as pass rush goes last year. Like he was dominant. He deserved to be the 3rd overall pick. You could even argue the number 1 overall pick, but Josh Connolly made him look like he was useless. Like they don't even draft the guy in the 7th round type of game. That's how great he was. And so this offensive line is going to be way better around him, which means he's not going to have to overcompensate to make up for the things that's going on around him and things like that. Plus Jayden Daniels, I think, is better than CJ Stroud. So I think the CJ Stroud, that whole thing, people saying he had a sophomore slump, I don't feel like it was him. I feel like it was the things around him. I feel like that was overblown. At the same time, I still got Jayden Daniels over him. So Laramie Tunsil's job will be made easier on top of the fact that Jayden Daniels is a more mobile quarterback. He also gets the ball out of his hands quicker than CJ Stroud does as well. So I'm telling you right now, Laramie Tunsil is going to ball out. My main point is you better pay him before this season because his stock is going to skyrocket compared to what it is right now before this season starts. So go ahead and pay him. And again, going back to my very first point, I'm in the corner of paying Laramie Tunsil. But I still think it would be crazy if he just saw Josh Connolly get his money as a draft pick and then he's like, where's mine? That would be insane. But either way, just to dive into it real quick, just do a quick little history on him. Remember, we acquired him in a trade and a 2025 4th round pick in exchange for a 2025 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick, and then in 2026 a 2nd round pick and a 4th round pick. 6'5", 361 pounds, is a 10-year NFL veteran who entered the league with the Miami Dolphins as a 1st round pick, 13th overall in the 2016 NFL draft. In his career, Tunsil has started in all 125 games he has appeared in and is a 5-time Pro Bowler. And in 2016 he earned the PFWA All Rookie Team honors, of course. From 2019 through 2024, Tunsil played for the Houston Texans, where he started in 81 games and earned Pro Bowl honors in each season, every single one of them. And in 2024, Tunsil registered an 89.1 pass block grade from Pro Football Focus. And just to let you know, that was a down year for him. He also had a pass block win rate of 93% on 411 total snaps, tied for the 7th best among all offensive tackles in the NFL on a down year. Since 2022, Tunsil has earned a 91.7 pass blocking grade, 2nd among all offensive tackles, and allowed a pressure rate of only 3.1%. That's 3rd best among all offensive tackles in the NFL. You could argue whether he's one of the best tackles overall in the NFL, but he's definitively at worst a top 3 pass protecting left tackle in the NFL right now. So I think buy that stock while it's low right now. The advanced stats say he still definitely has it, but again, he's coming off of a perceived down year with the Texans, go ahead and pay that man now. I ain't gonna lie. Now, don't pay him because he's potentially throwing a fit, even though I think I'm just honestly gonna assume that was just him hyping up Josh Connolly, basically saying Josh Connolly stepped into that Commanders front office like, pay me, and got paid. So he's probably just hyping up his boy. That's what I'm thinking. But then shouts out to Pro Football Focus, because they put this out on May 21st, just a couple of days ago. They literally did a best offensive lineman in the NFL over 30 years old. These are tackles, guards, centers, anybody. And they feel like Laramie Tunsil is one of the 5 best offensive linemen in the entire NFL that's over 30 years old. You have Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Joe Thuney, and Kevin Zeitler. Laramie Tunsil is in that crowd. He's in that peer group, that tier of offensive linemen in the NFL. I just want y'all to know that, and that's why I'm super excited about how good this team's going to be next year. Speaking of, after Josh Connolly got his money, now moving on to some of the super underrated players and all of the hype that Commanders players are receiving right now. Under the Jeremy Fowler announcement of Josh Connolly signing his 4-year guaranteed rookie contract. Again, we went in this order for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. Look how I work. Watch me work. I'm cooking. Louis Riddick went under that and tweeted, Commanders got better this offseason where it matters. And George Carmi even quote tweeted that and brought up a great point. The Commanders retained their offensive coaching staff, and then on top of that added a 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle, a first-round offensive tackle, Deebo Samuel, a Shrine Bowl MVP running back, a 4-3 upside pick wide receiver, and I would add returner to that, to a team with the 5th best offense in points per game last year in the league. I'm telling y'all right now, the hype is serious. It is not even just some of the most notable players, because we're going to get to those notable guys like Jayden Daniels right now. But then we also have some very underrated players that a lot of different experts and networks and all of the different articles and things like that are hyping up about the Commanders as well. But we got to start with the fact that Pro Football Focus just came out with an article on May 19th saying they ranked the top 25 players under the age of 25 entering the 2025 NFL season. And in that, Jayden Daniels is number 4 out of all players that are under 25. And he's the only rookie to make the top 5, just to let you know, from last year. Even with the stellar rookie class, even just outside of quarterbacks too. Daniels is only behind Penei Sewell, Puka Nacua, and Kyle Hamilton, who have been dominating the league for years now since they've gotten here, but they've been in the league way longer than Jayden Daniels. CJ Stroud is the only other quarterback on the entire list of the top 25 under 25, and he's number 12. Again, Jayden Daniels is 4th, leaving the door wide open for Jayden Daniels to become the young face of the league at a premier position. And just to read exactly what they had to say again, number 1, you have Penei Sewell. Number 2, you have Puka Nacua. And then number 3, you have Kyle Hamilton. Shouts out to Kyle Hamilton. He didn't go to Georgia, but that's more so Georgia's fault. We should have recruited him better. Shouts out to Notre Dame for seeing this gem of a talent that was in Atlanta, right in Georgia's backyard, but we overlooked them, I guess. I don't know what happened there. But going to Jayden Daniels 4th, his 3-year grade, of course, he's only played 1 year, but for everybody, they try to do their 3-year grade, snaps played since 2022, and average WAR since 2022 as well. But again, Jayden Daniels only has a 2024 sample size. But 3-year grade, 90.6, snaps played since 2022, only 1 year, 1,279, and average WAR, 3.11. They said the 2024 Offensive Rookie of the Year took the Commanders from last place in the NFC East the year before he was drafted to the NFC Championship game as a rookie, thanks to a dynamic play style that led to both a top 10 Pro Football Focus overall grade and a top 10 Pro Football Focus rushing grade for the position. According to PFF WAR, Daniels accounted for more than 3 wins on the year alone, which was a top 5 mark out of the entire NFL, regardless of age. And then also you have Pro Football Focus right here. Here's their all under 25 team. Of course, Jayden Daniels makes the list. And you have Jayden Daniels as the quarterback, Bijan Robinson as the running back, Puka Nacua as the wide receiver, Georgia dog, Brock Bowers, you know what I'm saying? Penei Sewell as the tackle, Tyler Smith as the guard, Jared Verse the edge rusher, another Georgia dog, Jalen Carter, Trent McDuffie the corner, and then Kyle Hamilton from Atlanta, but not a Georgia dog, sadly, as the safety. And then Ross Tucker went on the Junkies radio, and he said, and I haven't actually listened to the entire video, but the main quote that came from it that had everybody talking about it was, quote, "I think Jayden Daniels might already be the next guy," unquote. And basically, he was ranking the stacked list of the NFL's top quarterbacks. And from the little bit I did hear of it, he basically ranked, like he said, it's like Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson in their own tier. And then Jayden Daniels is immediately after that. And I believe at some point he even mentioned, like, he has the potential, Jayden Daniels this year, because he only did it for 1 year. I mean, if we're just talking about a 1-year snapshot, you could argue that Jayden Daniels was even higher than 5th. You know, you could argue that he was top 3, top 2, whatever you want to put him at, even beyond where he is. But a lot of people right now are like, I got to see it for one more year. Jayden Daniels going into this year, even without a Super Bowl ring, potentially could prove that he's even higher than the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. Again, shouts out to the people over there, the Sportsocracy YouTube channel over there, man. They do like the live show and everything like that. I found them through Logan Paulson and Craig Hoffman when they had him on the show, and he did like a quarterback power rankings a couple of weeks ago, and he said like, well, the other guy literally had Jayden Daniels number 1, I believe, but the other person, I can't remember their names right now. I'm so sorry for that slip in my mind right now, because I've listened to them for hours. Like I did an 8-hour drive down to Orlando, and I listened to them for like 5 hours of it. They're like draft rankings and their explanations of their big boards and things like that. So I love their content. But he said that it's like that crowd of like Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. He put Jayden Daniels in that same tier, and then he said it's basically like a gap, and then everybody else. And then after that, I think he had like Matthew Stafford, and it went on and on and on. And he basically said that Jayden Daniels is closer to the best quarterback in the NFL than he is the guy that's 6th. So even though Jayden Daniels, he had him 5th, it was more so like I got to see it for another year. And he feels like Jayden Daniels is closer to 1 than he is to the guy right behind him at 6th. And that's probably how a lot of people feel. So shouts out to Ross Tucker. And then again, shouts out to the Sportsocracy podcast over there on YouTube. Make sure y'all follow them, man, because they have great content and everything too. But then even Doug Farrar stepped up to the plate. Now we're moving on to some more hidden gems. He just posted a tweet earlier today, May 23rd, 9 a.m., new on SB Nation NFL. He said the Hidden Gems series continues with the Commanders. He does this for every team. He does the most underrated veteran, the most underrated free agency signing, and the most underrated draft pick. It's Dan Quinn's 2-city pass rusher, a former 7th overall pick, and Jayden Daniels' new deep threat. So for the underrated veteran, he picked edge Dorrance Armstrong. And just to let you know, go check out that article, because he's writing an entire essay almost for each one of these selections. And then after that, for most underrated free agency signing, he has Javon Kinlaw. And again, I promise y'all the video's on the way. And he even mentioned, he said Javon Kinlaw certainly wasn't underrated when he came out of South Carolina for the 2020 draft. The San Francisco 49ers selected him 7th overall in the 1st round, with obvious hopes that Kinlaw would define their defensive line for years. For multiple reasons, that didn't happen. Kinlaw had a pretty good rookie season. Injuries scuttled his 2021 and 2022 campaigns. He played a total of 13 games in those 2 years. He had a decent bounce back season in 2023 with 4 sacks, 35 total pressures, 25 solo tackles, and 22 stops. And after the 49ers declined to exercise his 5th-year option, Kinlaw signed a 1-year, $7 million contract with a little under $7 million guaranteed with the Jets. Clearly, this was a pivotal year in Kinlaw's career, and he did his level best to prove that he had something to offer. Maybe not a 7th overall level, but with 5 sacks, 30 total pressures, 27 solo tackles, 24 stops, and 4 tackles for losses, and 2 forced fumbles, the Jets version of Kinlaw impressed the Commanders enough to give him a 3-year, $45 million contract with $30 million guaranteed. So technically, cap space hit-wise is going to be somewhere around like $10 million a year. And he says way more about him even beyond that, but I'm just going to read that little part. Definitely go check out that article, and again, stay tuned, because that Javon Kinlaw video, I'm telling y'all. And then also, his underrated draft pick selection was wide receiver Jalen Lane. And he does an entire dive into basically the things that I've been saying since we drafted him. He's going to be a deep threat. He has the potential to be a starting slot. He's going to come in and immediately be a starting punt returner. I'm saying he's literally going to be our most electric punt returner since at least Brandon Banks. I'm that high on Jalen Lane. So he's a guy of many hats, and that was a steal in the 4th round. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all are going to grow to love him if you didn't love the pick initially. Then even moving on to ESPN, you have Aaron Schatz. He did an entire article saying picking the most underrated NFL players at every position. So out of the entire NFL, at every position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive tackle, edge rusher, linebacker, corner, safety, and special teams. Out of the entire NFL, this is not like he's guaranteed to pick a player from every team. He's going position by position and only picking one person out of the entire NFL for each one. And when he gets to tight end, he picks Zach Ertz as the most underrated tight end in the entire NFL. He said it looked like Ertz's career might be over after he played only 7 games for the Cardinals in 2023 at age 33. but he had a big comeback season with the Commanders in 2024. Ertz caught 66 passes for 654 yards and 7 touchdowns, emerging as one of the rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels' go-to receivers. Ertz also ranked 10th among tight ends in DYAR, defensive adjusted yards above replacement metric. He had an 85.7 run block win rate as well, one of the best figures among all starting tight ends, and the Commanders re-signed Ertz to a one-year $6.25 million contract for 2025. They didn't add any other tight ends in free agency or the draft, signaling that they're keeping him in the starting role at least for the 2025 season. Then even moving on from that, NFL.com came out with an article and said that Quan Martin is one of the most underappreciated players on the entire Commanders team and in the NFL as well. And shouts out to JP Finley because he agreed. He said Quan balled out last year and played through serious injuries, and everyone remembers the pick six and that playoff win over the Lions. Everybody remembers that. Even non-Commanders and Lions fans remember that one. And I do want to point out the fact that he spent over 80% of the season with 2 separated shoulders, and they haven't necessarily even fully healed until our season finally ended. So imagine what a 100% Quan Martin is going to be able to do. But in that NFL.com article, they said, while we're talking about underappreciated players, how about an underappreciated NFL pipeline? The Illinois secondary has churned out a bevy of ballers in recent years. The 2021 draft brought Nate Hobbs, who established himself as one of the better nickel cornerbacks in Las Vegas before signing a $48 million deal with Green Bay in March. The 2022 draft offered Kirby Joseph, who just signed an extension with Detroit that made him the highest paid safety in league history. And then the 2023 draft provided a trio of talents: Devon Witherspoon, a Pro Bowler in each of his first 2 seasons, Sidney Brown, a projected starter for the reigning Super Bowl champion Eagles, and Jartavius Quan Martin. Martin took over as a full-time starter in Washington last season, acquitting himself quite well at free safety. He stuffed the stat sheet with 87 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 passes defense, and 1 interception, and 2 separated shoulders. Yep, apparently he played most of the year with janky joints in each arm before undergoing off-season surgery. I appreciate the preposterous pain tolerance from Quan Martin. Again, that's coming all from NFL.com, an outside source hyping him up. So us as Commanders fans should definitely be excited about this season he's about to have for us, and really the career he's going to have for us. Because again, everything he did last year, even that Detroit Lions playoff game, 2 separated shoulders. Imagine what he's going to be like anywhere near close to 100. And then you also have Matt Holder of Bleacher Report highlighting Mike Sainristil as the Commanders' best kept secret entering the 2025 NFL season. He said, quote, college football fans know Mike Sainristil well since he was the MVP of the Big Ten Championship and had the game-clinching interception in the National Championship during Michigan's 2023-2024 postseason run. In his lone NFL season, the former Wolverine proved to be a valuable addition to the Commanders secondary, lining up at nickel and outside corner. He also recorded 14 passes defended with 2 interceptions during the regular season and added 2 more picks and 4 passes defense during the playoffs. And then shouts out to Dean Jones of Rigo's Rag for bringing up some good points. He said, nobody who watched Sainristil last season needs an introduction to his capabilities. He thrived in the slot over the opening few games. When the Commanders were forced to switch him to the boundary, he handled it very well. It was the smoothest of transitions from college to the pros, and he's just getting started. I do want to take some time to really emphasize, and I've mentioned this over the years in videos and live streams, cornerback is probably the hardest position in all of football. And literally outside of quarterback, it's probably the most difficult to go from college to the NFL. That adjustment is insane. That jump from college to the NFL, wild for a corner. That's why corners typically aren't really good until like their second or third years, usually at the soonest. So the fact that Mike Sainristil looked that good as a rookie is insane, man. Just like my boy Kamari Lassiter coming out of Georgia last year looked that good as a rookie. That was very impressive. I'm telling you, cornerback, that jump from college wide receivers, where occasionally you may go against some of the really good ones coming out of the draft, to the NFL where every week is somebody, and man, boy, I'm telling quarterback and cornerback, the toughest jumps from college to the NFL. And for Mike Sainristil to do what he did at 2 separate positions, 2 slot corner that he played for the last, because remember, he was a wide receiver at first in college, then switched to slot corner for his last 2 seasons at Michigan. Then in the NFL gets drafted, the first like 2-3 weeks slot corner, outside corner for the rest of the season. This guy was just a receiver 3-4 years ago. Then he switched to slot and then the outside corner, and he handled all of that very well. Mike Sainristil deserves a big salute, and I'm happy that even somebody that's not a Commanders reporter is acknowledging that. And then if you look on the screen right now, shouts out to Trevor Sycamore of Pro Football Focus. He ranked his NFL wide receiver rankings, and you see Terry McLaurin right there at the bottom. I'm happy that he's at least top 10, but I feel like a little bit of this is disrespectful because he has AJ Brown 1, then Justin Jefferson, then Jamar Chase, then Amon-Ra St. Brown, then Puka Nacua, then CeeDee Lamb, then Nico Collins, then Tyreek Hill, then Mike Evans, then Terry McLaurin. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Terry McLaurin should at least be like 8 or 7, but that's cool though. I mean, it's hard to put him over Tyreek Hill. It's hard to put him over Mike Evans, and I love Nico Collins, but man, hey, CeeDee Lamb hard, but I don't know. And Puka Nacua, I just feel like you got to see a little bit more of it, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm just happy to see him top 10. Same thing with this right here. Also, Trevor Sikkema. He just posted this yesterday, the top duo wide receiver rankings in the NFL. And I'm not exactly sure if this is in order. It more than likely is. I would assume it is, though. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, of course. Then Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. But, I mean, Jamison Williams is deadly, and I wanted him so bad in that draft. But, I mean, the gambling, the not staying healthy, I don't know. Then Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams can argue against that. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean, I really like both of them. But we'll see, you know what I'm saying? We'll see, especially, then again, quarterback injuries kind of held them back a little bit. But as a fantasy football owner, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have been killing me. So that's why I'm looking at this like, I don't know. But they are ballers, though. And then Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, especially when Chris Godwin is healthy, insane duo. And then also Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. And who would have thought 2 years ago that the Commanders would have a top 7 wide receiver duo in the NFL? Look how far we've come. And we already just spent a lot of this video talking about how great our offensive line is going to be. Laramie Tunsil, Josh Connolly, and all of that. Our quarterback. And then on top of that, we have a top 7 wide receiver duo. I'll take it. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you about everything discussed in the video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, and still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. As promised, you made it this far in the video. Just to let you know, the answer to the trivia question was Alabama. Let me know if y'all got that right before I even gave you the answer. Of course, make sure you leave a like on the way out. And most importantly, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video, man. Do you agree the fact that Josh Connolly deserved that money and all of that type of stuff? Are you really high on Josh Connolly as a first round pick? Where do you project him to start immediately week 1 as a rookie? Right tackle, left guard, right guard, like where do you see this guy? Also, let me know how you feel about Laramie Tunsil potentially demanding his money, or do you think it's nothing and he's just hyping up Josh Connolly getting his money? And then also, how do you feel about all of the experts and what they have to say about the Commanders' best players, their most underrated players? Let me know what you agree or disagree with any of that stuff. Really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all leave a like on the way out again. Catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.